You know, of course I was the greatest king of all time. They can't even do it anymore because I was such a great king. It's dead. It could never be done. Just let me know that I had a chip in the game. They had their eye on me because they made this decision to say, we want Book to close this down. Well, it could have been one of those memorable factions like the NWO, like DX. But the company never really understood what they were doing with it.
Good to see you, sir.
Been a minute, man.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
You're looking good.
I feel good.
You posted this photo the other day where you're flexing on NXT on commentary.
Looking good. Real good.
With a T on the end.
I'm in the gym. I'm in the gym training on a regular. You know, a lot of people out there. You know, I got called out. Ryback called me out to a fight. This morning I woke up and looked on YouTube, and I'm like, I got to stay in shape, man, more than anything, because one thing about being a man, you always feel that urge to want to get back in there sometimes.
I feel like people saw that photo and went, man, he's in such great shape. I'm like, when has Booker T never been in good shape?
No,
come on.
You got to stay ready, in order to be ready, you know what I mean? That's my motto, because life moves fast, it's fluid. You can find yourself getting old quick if you're just sitting at home thinking about what happened in the past. We're here at Reality of Wrestling today, Summer Champions 9. We're thinking about the future. We're thinking about Summer Champions 20 in a much, much bigger arena. Seeing our young kids go out there and perform at the highest level. So, man, I'm living my best life right now.
I feel like you're having a lot of fun doing commentary on NXT.
You know what? I think that's the difference. When I was on Raw, when I was on SmackDown, everything had to be politically correct. Of course, I had, something in my ear.
Or someone in your ear.
And, sometimes, you couldn't be yourself. And I find myself at NXT being kind of like I am here at Reality of Wrestling. I'm throwing my clipboard, and then I'm having fun at the same time. With NXT, I can go out there and be serious, but then I can talk about, a cup of hottie biscotti, so shucky ducky quack quack, so it's just all about having balance and trying to think about one thing first and foremost, and that's the young guys, the talent, and trying to put a spotlight on those guys and, hopefully give them the rub. It's something we talk about in the business.
Do you feel like those are like your kids? Like when they graduate on, you see them on the main roster, you're like, yeah, there we go.
Yeah, my man Brad Gilmore, he was telling me about an interview that he saw one of the Usos do, and he quoted, something that I said, back in the day. And when I hear something like that, I go, man, that's the lessons. It's all about the lessons you teach. It's all about, giving back.
Yeah.
And the ones that really, really appreciate it, like a Grayson Waller. I couldn't wait for that guy to get to the main roster. I think I might have been one of the first guys to say Grayson Waller needs to be on the main roster just because he's mature enough. I think his talent is at that level to where he can go out there and perform, equally with anyone on that main roster. So for me, it's all about, about the Carmelo Hayes.
Sure.
It's all about the young guys and watching these guys growing. And for me, like I say, I'm just happy to be able to be walking and still be a part of this.
Oh, come on.
I tell Brad, when we're doing Hall of Fame, I say, anytime you hear me say something stupid where you feel like I'm missing it or I'm losing it, go talk to Charmel.
You see Grayson Waller called The Rock out?
Hey, man, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, I guess
you're
so.
Supposed to call out the top guys, man. You're supposed to go to the top level. When you're in this business. If you want to feel like you're a top guy.
So a lot of you guys left some very nice comments when I posted this video of me getting into the best shape of my life by 40 years old. Like that whole idea of redefining the dad bod. And a lot of people said oh my gosh, I had no idea you were 40 years old. What's the secret? And I don't really think that it's a secret, but I think a combination of eating fairly well, working out, and a skincare routine all combined together helps so much. So you've heard me talk about T. Hanley for years now, and I started some version of a skincare routine when I was 30. Wish I had started it way earlier. And the thing I love about Tiege Hanley is they make it so easy. I mean, their tagline is literally uncomplicated skincare for men. And they make it as easy as like just sending you a box with everything you need in it every single month. So you've got the wash, super self-explanatory there, although it's amazing how many people wash their face with the same stuff that they use in the shower to wash every other part of their body. Then you got the AM moisturizer, and I love that it has the SPF 20 in that, which is super important, especially in the summer months like right now. PM moisturizer, super simple, you put that on at nighttime. And then twice a week, you've got the scrub that really dives in deep and gets out all that extra dirt and grime there. So guys, go check out that link in the description. It's also in the pinned comment. You'll get 30% off your first box, plus a free gift. I don't know if it gets any better than that. So get started with your skincare routine with Tiege Hanley by clicking that link down below.
We was just talking about the comparison Kevin Nash made just a few week or so ago, and
comparing LA Knight to The Rock.
Exactly, LA Knight and The Rock, LA Knight, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yeah. Of course, you want to steal from the best guys. You know, for me, I made sure I stole from the best guys that went out there and did it.
Who'd you steal from?
You know, Bob Orton Jr., Pat Tanaka. The great Muta. Certain guys, I stole a lot of their flavor. You know, Pat Tanaka did a beautiful flying forearm. The great Muta, the way he floated over guys, you know, when he would hit the ropes, the way he would drop an elbow and kick his legs out at the same time. You know, for me, I stole like stuff that you didn't really notice too much, you know. And so for me, I tell all my young guys, if you can find something and make it your own, you know, do it.
When you're talking to young guys here at Reality of Wrestling, or when you're doing some coaching at the Performance Center, what's the one piece of advice that you seem to always be coming back to?
Man, 99%, 100%. You know, if you're 99%, you know, keep your mouth shut. You know, if you're 100%, speak up 100% of the time. You know, because I'll listen. You know, if it's something that, you know, that resonate with me and something that get through with me, and I go, you know, you might be right. You know, I'm not the one that think I'm the smartest guy in the room or I know it all or anything like that. So I just try to tell my young guys, know when to speak up. You know, just like my right-hand man, Kevin Bernhardt, started with me when he was 18 years old, came to me about 3 years ago, and he go, Book, I need to talk to you. And I go, well, what do you need? He goes, you remember, you know, you say 99%, 100%. I go, yeah. He goes, you know, I need a raise. And I looked at him and I just started laughing, you know. And I go, how much you need? And he goes, such and such. I go, okay, now get the hell out of here, you know. But I need guys that know their worth, that know when they're working a little bit hard. Maybe he just needed a little bit of pinch to help him out a little bit. You know what I mean? So for me, I get it. I understand it. And I was there once upon a time myself, and I was always the guy to speak up. You know, and sometimes you can get fired, you know, when you speak up.
Okay, lots more with Booker in just a second, but if you've been watching the show for a while now, you know that I'm not really a coffee guy, and like, please don't hold that against me, but I am very much a warm beverage fan, and my go-to warm beverage is in this mug. It's mud water, and it has all of the same energy, and it has just a fraction of the caffeine of a cup of coffee, and no crash that you get with coffee. Mud water is a coffee alternative with 4 adaptogenic mushrooms, and look at all the great ingredients right on the side of the can there. And look, like you, when I first heard the name, I was like, why would anyone want to drink mud? But now that I've tried it, I love the taste of this. Like, you can add some coconut milk, but I honestly just like drinking it straight up. This is my go-to like mid-morning or like just after lunch drink when I'm like, man, I could really use a little boost here. So a big thank you to Mudwater for supporting the show, and you can support the show too by going to mudwater.com/CVV. You'll get 15% off when you go to that website. Or if you use the code CVV at checkout, you'll also get 15% off. So that's mudwtr.com/CVV. And trust me, I love this stuff, and I know you're gonna love it just as much as I do.
Yeah, you mentioned our friend Brad Gilmore, who's behind the cameras here. Thank you for everything, Brad. He's your co-host on the Hall of Fame. You guys make a lot of headlines. Every single week, you're always giving hot takes on different things that's going on in the world of wrestling. Do you ever get worried about giving your opinion if it's a friend involved or a former coworker?
You know, I never, as far as giving my opinion, I never say anything that I'm not willing to say in somebody's face. You know, and that's just the way I've always, did my form of journalism. I don't say anything to tarnish anyone. I don't do anything to try to make anybody look bad. I never curse, if you notice on my show or anything like that. And what I say, I stand by it 100% every time. And 9 times out of 10, it comes around that I was right. Every single time it comes around and I was right. So my opinion, I think, is strong as far as the way the people look at it and the way that they try to make it hot takes. But at the end of the day, I stand by it 100%.
I'm so curious, when fans come up to you, you have so many great catchphrases. What's the phrase you hear the most?
Tell me you didn't just say that. Yeah, you didn't just say that. Tell me you didn't just say that. Shucky ducky quack quack, of course. If Hottie Biscotti's getting hot, you know what I mean?
But I mean, it's like 10 more. You could keep listing them off.
We ain't going. You can get the T-shirt. That's Mount Everest. I'm talking about the brothers. So it's we just try to have. Life is, like I say, it's tricky. You never know what's around the corner. You never know when it's going to be your time. You could wake up and you're not here. You wonder, what the hell just happened? So for me, I try to live life. I try to let my kids see their dad and their mom just got back from Vegas. And my wife called me and she was worried about what we were doing at the house. And I say, why can't she just enjoy herself in Vegas and go watch Ursha? So for me, I want my wife to be able to, I want to be able to have fun myself. And we could do it together and we could do this thing, as a team, and it's a song by Life Jennings, Must Be Nice. Having a woman to grow old with until God calls one of us home. I think that's what life's all about.
What's a catchphrase you tried that just didn't get over and you can't believe it didn't get over?
I haven't had one. No, I'm serious. Every one of my catchphrases normally stick, and but it's just me having fun.
Yeah.
It's like a comedian. Comedian tell jokes, and the funniest jokes are the stuff that you just saw around the house. You know what I mean? And for me, I think that's what I do with the way I do commentary and the way I go out. I don't even call myself a commentator, actually.
You're more like a comedian out there.
I don't know. Like I said, I try to make those 2 hours feel a certain way, just like I did when I was wrestling. Because wrestling, the reason I have so many fans is because the way the fans felt when they watched me, the way they felt when they left the arena.
Yeah.
I always went and watched karate movies when I was a kid. And when I left that arena, 5 Deadly Venoms, man, I think I was on fire for the week. The Shogun Assassin, oh man, I just had to have more of that.
Yeah.
And then the bogus ones, oh man, that's JoJo, man, I didn't like that one too. The ones you like, because they made you feel a certain way, and that's what we do, commentating, wrestling, entertainment.
Your style of commentary is perfectly complemented to my good friend Vic Travaglianti. WWE fans will know him as Vic Joseph. You guys perfectly complement each other.
Now, Vic makes it really, really easy for me, man. I couldn't do the job without Vic, to be honest. I would not be as comfortable as I am without Vic. He really does all the heavy, just like Brad does. Brad does all the heavy lifting. I'm just a star.
Come on.
Vic, he does all the heavy lifting. I'm just a star. No. And I say that giving him props, man, because I couldn't do it without him. I couldn't do it without Brad. There's no way, I would be in Vegas, covering Crawford, Spence, if it wasn't for Brad. I couldn't do it. No way. I have a saying, when I was, getting ready for my bid for mayor here in the city of Houston, things fell through. But I know when I do run, I'm going to win. That's just no doubt. I'm going to win. The slogan for me is been for years, respect your elders, but for me it's respect your young people, because they're the future. Yeah. They're the ones that's going to guide us in this new technical world, and if it wasn't for these young people, I can only imagine where us old heads like myself would be, where I can't even understand what Twitter and Instagram is. I'm mixing them up, you know what I mean? So, nah, man, it's true. Brad came to me when he was 18 years old. Now he's married, successful, more famous, almost more famous than I am.
You hear that, Brad? Wow. Look at that.
But it took a lot of work. It took trying to be a certain feel for Brad to be able to look at and be able to emulate and understanding what this life and being a man is really, really, truly all about.
I feel like it's just a matter of time till Vic's on the main roster. Like, he's so good.
Oh, man. He's my guy. He's going to be on the main roster. I'm pushing for him to be on the main roster.
He was on Raw.
Well, you know what? You could get there, but you got to know how to stay there. You got to know how to steal somebody's job. So like me. Wade Barrett stepped out for a minute. As soon as I stepped in, I said, this guy ain't getting this job back. They go out to sign me for a bigger contract next year. This is over. No, because you got to know how to get there and you got to know how to stay there. For me, I don't know how long I'm going to stay there, but I know.
As long as you want. Come on.
No, initially they say we like what we see, just, my ad lib. Oh, just that, is enough. The price of admission, So Vic, the next time he get a chance to get in that spot, he's going to know exactly what it means and how to stay in that spot.
Talking about catchphrases, I think a lot of fans, they know your theme song now is "Can You Dig It, Sucka?" They forget that in WCW, it was "Don't hate the player, hate the game," and then your music would hit.
Yeah, don't hate the player, hate the game. That was another one I stole from somebody, That's what wrestling is. Even "Can You Dig It?" Shaft. Shaft was a bad mother. Shut your mouth. But we could dig it. You know what I mean? It was one of those things. For me, watching Richard Roundtree as a kid, I wanted to be Richard Roundtree. When Richard Roundtree said, "Can you dig it?" I was like, "Oh man, I wish I could just say that one time, and act tough, like Richard." So yeah, man, life's tricky. Yeah.
When you talk about being the five-time WCW champion, which one of those means the most to you?
Number 1 and number 5. No, number 1 and number 6. Actually, yeah. Number 1, when I first won it, was like a magical moment. I never put myself on the radar as far as winning the World Heavyweight Championship or anything like that. I never dreamt one day of being the World Heavyweight Champion. Just never did. I just want to be the best wrestler. I just want to be the best wrestler in the locker room. And being the best wrestler in the locker room has enabled me throughout my career to have had a championship around my waist since the beginning, like from, when I was in the independent scene. So for me, when I won the World Heavyweight Championship, I remember a guy by the name of Chris Cruz. We were coming from a pay-per-view one night, and he goes, "Book, one day you're going to win the World Heavyweight Championship." And I go, "Man, get out of here, man." No, excuse me, Gary Capetta. That's who it was, not Chris Cruz. Gary Capetta. He said, "You're going to win a heavyweight championship one day." And I go, "Nah, no way." I said, "Get out of here, man." And many, many years later, I'm in a position to win the World Heavyweight Championship. Controversial night, of course. But winning it, I think that controversy made that night for me even bigger, more memorable for everyone. And number 6, with my queen.
In WWE.
In WWE.
Yeah.
It was magical, man. Both of those nights was like equally magical, like to the cosmos, man, to the nebula, as far as how they felt for me. Because winning it with my wife against Rey Mysterio, so gracious, working with the best in the world, Rey Mysterio, my favorite wrestler. What an awesome night.
What did it mean winning it on the last episode of Nitro, beating Scott Steiner, and being U.S. champion and World Heavyweight champion that night?
You know what, man? It felt good. But it wasn't something I really I really don't think I've thought about it really that much to this day, because it was a changing of the guards, and for me, I've only looked at the business as a job. I've never looked at it as me being famous or anything like that. I've always looked at it as it's my job. I'm going to work, put my hard hat on. So when I won it that night, it just let me know that I had a chip in the game. I had they had their eye on me because they made this decision to say, we want Book to close this down.
Yeah.
And me being that kid who rose from the ashes in WCW to be the final guy to be the double champion, world heavyweight champion, United States champion, to close the company down, a historical night that will live throughout the history and the annals of time. It would never be changed. I never saw that. Never saw that coming in a million years. But it let me know, man, I was pretty good. I always thought I was pretty good. I always thought I was, top 5 in the business. I used to tell guys that all the time. William Regal and all those guys used to want to kill me because I used to say I was, top 5 worker in the world. They said, what number? What number are you? Doesn't matter. I say I'm hovering. Sometimes I'm down, sometimes, but I'm here, so it always been about being the best, so championships just follow.
Did you ever have a conversation with Shane McMahon backstage at the last Nitro? Because that must have been strange. Like, you never see the guy, and then all of a sudden he's just there at Nitro.
Yeah. I do remember having a conversation with Shane. I can't remember what it was, but I know I was like his guy. I came into WWE, boom, him and we was boom, connected at the hips.
Yeah.
We did so much stuff together. I had so much fun working with Shane McMahon. And it was all because he wanted to, work with me. And, I don't know. For me, having that happen, I don't know why it happened. Sometimes a lot of guys came into WWE at that time. It didn't work out for them. For me, I came in. I had a crappy match the first night, with Buff Bagwell, due to, circumstances, whatnot. A lot of guys.
He never had another one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And there's so many guys that didn't have another one.
Yeah.
And for me, I always looked at it as, I was prepared for WWE. I remember in WCW at the end of that run, so many guys was getting lazy. They were, making so much money. It was like it was going to happen, last forever. Yeah. And I could see the ship, like the Titanic going down. And I was like, let me, really, really prepare myself. And I always tell my students one of my best quotes is if you can't make it in the locker room, you have no chance at making it in the ring. That's one of my most famous quotes, because the guys will break you in the locker room before you have a chance at making it in the ring. You gotta be likable. And for me, I've always been likable. But I've always been, a man of my word, I've always been looking for a fight, too, at the same time.
But I think a big part of you being really likable is you've never taken yourself too seriously. Like, you've had so many incredible and memorable comedic moments that are right up there with the serious moments you've had.
You got to be able to laugh at yourself. You can't take it serious. It's professional wrestling, I never say I earned the title. I'm never going to say I earned it, because it's not like MMA. It's not like boxing.
Right.
But I do feel like I've earned it to the perspective that the company look at me as the guy that can, be the head of the company and pull that load. Yeah. Like a John Cena being that guy in that position, pulling that load. I think for me, I always say it's not the championship, it's the title. That right there for me meant more than anything. Yeah.
So I was at WrestleMania 18 because I'm Canadian. I'm from Toronto.
Yeah.
Did you see that sign in the crowd while you were wrestling, they're fighting over shampoo?
Yeah.
While you were working the match?
That's stupid, though, Me and Stone Cold Steve Austin in the grocery store, people come up to me and go, man, my favorite match with you. My favorite match was you and Stone Cold Steve Austin in the grocery store. To be able to go out and like just make a fool of ourselves, make fun of ourselves for the fans, entertain them, and then we'll get in the ring and we'll have a real serious fight. And that's the balance of professional wrestling. You got to know when to have fun, when to take yourself serious, and when not. I've seen guys pass up on many opportunity not knowing how to really understand this business. And for me, since day one, watching Houston wrestling here as a kid, I knew what it was. I wasn't the kid going to school going, man, I want to fight you over wrestling because I believe it. And I was like, man, these guys are some great entertainers, man.
Yeah.
And I knew the really good ones from the guys who were mediocre to the guys who were just learning, So I was like, man, I think I could do this. It was, I loved it.
The stuff you did with Goldust is it's so good.
Some of my best work with Goldust because we were friends, and this business, we say you got a bump card. When you punch it up, it's over with. It's time to check out. Goldie and I, we would come to work, and we wouldn't have nothing to do but a skit. And we would be in the locker room, and this went on for weeks. We didn't have to wrestle at all. And we would be like, man, we're stealing money. They're paying us to do this. Are you kidding me? We don't have to work this week. So you got to know when to put it in, like, cruise control, when to, just, kick back and, relax and know this business works in circles. It's not always going to be your time, So for me, I've always said, when it's time, I was G.I. Bro, Dallas Page came in the locker room one day and he saw me in there putting on my paint, and he goes, man, what are you doing? What are you doing, bro? I looked at him and I go, bro, I'm just having some fun. Man, I was on my boat every weekend. I was fishing in the Gulf. I would come to work, go play GI, bro, go back. I wasn't on the house shows. You got to know when to have fun, take your time. It's a long haul. It's a marathon.
You've still never paid for that Slurpee in that 7-Eleven segment.
They didn't have the Booker T cups.
Yeah.
They
must have been sold out.
They sold out.
Yeah. Must have been sold out.
They sold out.
WrestleMania 21, when they first went to Hollywood, and you did the Samuel L. Jackson Pulp Fiction thing.
Yeah.
How much of that monologue do you still know?
None of it.
What is it, Ezekiel 25, 8?
Yeah, I'm serious.
I got it wrong.
No, I'm serious, man. I remember when I was going over, because the thing is, I've never watched Pulp Fiction.
Oh, you're missing out. It's Tarantino's best work.
I've watched like bits and pieces of it.
Come on.
It's just, Tarantino, and it's not like my kind of,
I get it.
I
get it.
I like, Kill Bill?
Yeah.
Volume
1 and 2,
I like that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But, it just wasn't my cup of tea.
But you memorized it for that moment. That was it?
Yeah, that was it, man. I got through it, and I was like, thank God. And for me, it's been like that with a lot of stuff. If it's not live, if I'm not like under some pressure, I can't read it. And I'm with Brad. We going over something. If the red light's on, I'll manage my way through it. But if we got to rehearse it, I'm like, come on, I can't get it. But it's just I don't know. I'm a pressure type of guy, red light type of guy. Yeah.
When that red light is on and you're in the ring, who's been your favorite person to work?
Man, Christian. Of course, back in WCW, the Benoit best of 7. Nothing got better than that. Working, like some of the greats like Bret Hart, Rick Martel, Steamboat, Savage. Those are the guys that come to mind for me, because I can remember learning, more than anything. I could just remember keeping my ears open and wondering, man, is it this easy?
Yeah.
Does it supposed to be this easy all the time? Because they went out and performed at such a level to where you didn't have to do anything but just keep your ears open and react. And that's what I try to teach my students is, we don't think about selling. We try to think about reacting. You know what I mean? We don't sell. It's not even a part of our, vocabulary. We're thinking about reacting.
Yeah.
Because if I hit you in the mouth, you know how to react if you've been hit in the mouth before. It doesn't really hurt if your adrenaline is flying. It might stun you, so give me that reaction.
Yeah.
Opposed to, like a lot of guys, television today, so it's, about trying to keep it real.
You just listed a lot of legends there, and there's a lot of people that will consider you one of the best of all time. Who's on your Mount Rushmore?
I don't know, man. You know what? I don't know. I really don't look at wrestling like that. Of course, you got Ric Flair. You know, he's going to be there. You know, of course, you got Hogan because when I look at Ric Flair, I look at him for a certain reason. And the reason is, man, the work Ric Flair put in, man, he's like a god. I'm talking about the young Ric Flair that went. He ran hard on both ends. In the ring, he performed at the highest level. Then you got a guy like Hogan who came along and changed the name of the game as far as how much money guys were making. Then the Hollywood, thing, and then the other two probably, Steamboat, of course, for being perhaps the best baby face that ever lived. You know, a guy that can go out there and perform at such a high level. And then you got a guy like Piper who couldn't do anything, but it was such a major star. So, but the Rushmore thing is like, up for debate.
Sure.
But everybody's going to have their own, Rushmore. Should I be on there? The greatest, 35-time champion? Perhaps.
I mean, when people think of the Big Gold, you're one of the names that immediately pops in their head.
Greatest king of all. I'm not patting myself on the back or anything.
I mean, definitely the greatest king.
Of course, I was the greatest king of all time. They can't even do it anymore because I was such a great king. It's dead. It can never be done.
It's true.
That was by design as well. That didn't happen by accident. I knew being King Booker was going to break the mold. No one was ever going to be able to, follow that act ever again. Yeah.
How much work did you put into the accent?
The accent just had to be stupid. It didn't have to be real, but it had to be serious. It had to be, I had to believe it. And then then I would break character and go street, but I would kick back into my character because just like I talk to my students, like working with the NXT guys, your acting has to be, on another level when you're trying to make fans feel a certain way. Yeah. Because everyone know when they walk in the door what they're going to get here. But when they walk out and they go, God, man, I can't wait to get back and watch it again, that's because they felt a certain way. And that's what King Booker brought to the table. And so much went into that whole thing. I couldn't even do it for that long. I had a heel run, and I left WWE after that run because I was so tired at the end of it because it was taxing. But it was great at the same time. The best work I ever did.
And then right into TNA right after that. And I feel like people sleep on the main event Mafia. But it was so good.
You know what? It was good. It could have been great.
What do you think was the difference there?
Well, it could have been one of those memorable factions like the NWO, like DX. But the company never really understood what they were doing with it. I made a statement on my show that TNA, they didn't have, they wasn't really locked in as far as being focused on certain things. And I think, that was one of them because you had, 5 world champions there, all of us that, worked at a very high level. And then you had all those young guys like Samoa Joe and AJ Styles, Bobby Roode. We had so much talent that we could have worked with, and none of it really came to fruition. And really, for me, I really don't know why. And I tell people I lost my zeal after about 2 weeks of working.
And then you stayed there 3 more years?
No, I only stayed there 2 years.
No, 2 years more years.
People are like, what is zeal? Look it up. But I had fun there, but no work really got done. My whole 2 years there, nothing. It was like a vacation.
Yeah.
Every 2 weeks, Charmel and I were going to Disney, hanging out. But they would celebrate over a good match. It would be a party.
Sounds great.
What the hell's going on here? So it was just like a little off. But I must say I had a good time there. My exit wasn't that great. I always say that I was talking on my show. I felt like embarrassed about some of the stuff that I did in TNA. I felt like I could have worked a little bit harder in certain places. You know what I mean? And that's just my faults. I'm fallible. I'm flawed. You know.
We all are. Do you specifically remember the moment that you went from being good to being great?
Yeah, I think so. It happened sometime when I was around 36, 37.
So you would have been in WWE at the time?
Yeah. I was really good my whole career. But when I started thinking, man, I wish I could, when you hear people say, man, I wish I had the knowledge, when I was young. When you see the Incredible Hulk, you just, man, if I could put this in my young body, you know what I mean? Man, for me, yeah, man.
Was it a match? Was it a promo? Was it a moment?
No, it just was the way I could go in the ring and not even think at all and understand everything that was going on. And I tell people it's like an out-of-body experience. You're sitting back and you're watching yourself work, and you're giving yourself everything that you want to see, not anything that you want to do. It's amazing.
So what is that advice you would give to your younger self?
Oh, man, the advice I would give to my younger self would be, just like we tell young guys now, is slow down, try to understand everything that you're doing. I tell my students, understanding is like taking an engine apart and then putting it together exactly the same way. It can't be any little pieces left over here. You might leave some pieces over here, they might crank, and then you ride down the street, boom, it just blows up.
Yeah.
So you got to have all of those little, dots connected if you want to be great. And for me, I was never really the best wrestler. I tell people that all the time. I was never really the best wrestler, but to be smart, to be able to go out and think my way through the match and feel my way through it. And there again.
Oh, we got to stand if they're playing this.
make the fans feel a certain way. I think, sometimes like young guys today, they get in the ring and they work for themselves. And I was that way, too, I guess, once upon a time. You could never think about working for yourself.
Yeah.
Or the spots are done for you. It's always for the fans, and I just wish I had known that my whole career, even though I learned most of that kind of stuff early, but some of the bumps I took, I definitely, wouldn't have put myself in that position. I feel a certain way right now just because of taking certain bumps. Yeah. And that's probably what I would tell these young guys today more than anything is the bumps they're taking. I'm 58. I feel, relatively, really, really good.
You look great.
But those bumps, they're going to feel those bumps, in their later years. And I know they're having fun right now. And I know they may look at me and go, he's old. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But those bumps, man, everybody got a bump card.
I just had Vince Russo on the show.
I hate Vince Russo.
You hate him?
Yeah.
He had very nice things to say about you. He said that one of his proudest things was being able to make you the champion in WCW.
I'm just playing. I don't hate Vince Russo.
He's like, I don't. After you say that, I don't hate Vince Russo.
He's okay guy. Nah, man. That's one of the good things he did.
We'll leave it at that.
No. No, I think Vince Russo more than anything, anybody. Perhaps. No, seriously. No, on the other hand.
Okay.
No, it's two different sides of the coin.
Yeah.
Really. But I think Vince Russo more than just about anyone outside of Eric Bischoff in WCW throughout my whole run. Just because he had the balls to, be the one to pull the trigger and say, this is the guy who should be the champion. And the thing is, without Vince Russo being in that room, honestly, they could have taken a vote, and it could have been a 12-person unanimous vote that I should win the championship. Without Vince Russo being in the room, they would have gave it to someone else. That's why I give him that much credit.
So you don't hate Vince Russo?
No, I don't hate him. I'm just playing. I just play it. He's done some things lately that make me question him, though, that I have to talk to him about. And for me, I don't like, talking on the internet, and stuff like that. I like talking to and let someone know if I got a problem with them. And they might need to check with me and get with me. Make sure you don't edit this, because
We'll leave this in for sure.
Some things have been questionable.
Just two more questions. Anytime we have a Hall of Famer on here. Oh, that was. Ugh. What is the inscription on each of your rings?
Nothing, just Booker T.
On both of them?
Yeah.
Because I know you can put whatever you want on the inside of them.
Just Booker T.
Okay.
I didn't try to be fancy, just Booker T.
Okay.
I know who I am. I'm one of the greatest that ever did it. And a lot of people may not want to give me my props, but I give myself props because it's hard to make it in this business. It really is. It's hard to make it in the wrestling business to the level that I made it.
Yeah.
And I didn't slip on a banana peel and make it, as far as I did. Creating what we're creating here at Reality of Wrestling, being a promoter in this business, trying to create the future for a lot of these young guys. I know this business like the back of my hand. This is something that I know. This is my trade. I didn't finish high school. I found myself, locked up in prison, when I was a young man. I had to pretty much teach myself how to, find my way through this life, and then I married a smart wife who can do the rest of it. So but life is humbling.
Gratitude's such an important part of my life, so I end every conversation asking my guests, what are 3 things that you're grateful for as we sit here right now?
Oh man, my wife, my kids, my health.
I love it.
Yeah, it's very simple, Yeah, it's very simple. I'm a humble man. I'm a simple man. I don't need much at all. And like I say, as long as I got my health and I got my legs, I can work. That's the one thing I have taught myself, since I was a young man. As long as I got my legs and my health, I can work. I'll get the job done. I'll make the money as long as I don't need anything else. I'm not gonna ask for anything. That's all I need.
Does that mean we'll see you in the Rumble again?
No. You won't see me in the Rumble.
That was pretty cool to go from like pre-show to like, oh my, it is. He's in the Royal Rumble.
I love that job, man. I love that job. Being a part of this wrestling business is such an addictive world, and for me to have been a part of it for 31 years now. That's really amazing, and to still be in it and to still be relevant. And I say sometimes it takes other people to keep you relevant, so you got to know how to make people feel a certain way, like Bad Bunny writing a song about me.
Yeah.
I go places, and so for me, life has been a bowl of cherries, man. I'm serious, and I love every minute of it, and I want everybody to be able to share in that, understand that life is not guaranteed tomorrow, so make sure you're smiling every day.
What a great way to end it. Such a pleasure to chat with you, as always. So glad we could do it in person this time.
Heck yeah, man.
My brother. Thank you so much.